Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts Turtle, Sean, and Mike. Thank you for joining us today. How are you guys doing today?
I'm very well. How's everyone else?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
I'm doing well as well.
Can't complain.
Yeah, same here. Any of you guys playing anything new and exciting?
For those who follow my YouTube channel, RPG Treasure Trove, you all know that I'm a big RPG fan, and since we're talking about anime on the podcast, I've actually been playing a little bit of One Piece Odyssey lately.
What do you think about it?
It's very true to the characters. I think it looks great, but I'm not terribly far into the game yet. There's a lot of back and forth you gotta do. You run here, do this, run there, do that, run back to where you just were, then go back again. Um, the combat system, I love turn-based combat. That's kind of slow in this game, and I pretty much have it on fast forward constantly. And I feel like they could have implemented a little better and faster turn-based system with what they have. They have some cool ideas. I just think maybe it needed workshopped a little bit more as far as like the execution goes, but it's okay.
I know nothing about the One Piece stuff. Never watched any of it. I know it's popular, but I couldn't tell you much about it.
I'm pretty sure like One Piece is the number one anime in Japan, and it took over like Dragon Ball back in like the mid 2000s, and it's been there ever since. I would love to cover the show here, but it is huge. It's so long.
I was gonna say, I just know it's hella long, and they put out that one giant manga book, and it's damn near impossible to read because it's so thick.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. We are well over 1,000 episodes right now. I've been watching, every week in Japanese because the English is nowhere near caught up. But I love the show to death. I think it's great. It would just be a very, very long, long coverage to do it here. Maybe we'll see.
It wouldn't be anime banter; it'd just be One Piece banter. That's a
You know what we'd have to do in order to make it work for here? We'd have to watch like an entire arc and then just talk about the arc because we can't do 2 or 3 episodes at a time. It would take eternity.
everyone who watches it tells me it's worth the watch. Watch every episode. It's worth it. I watched it back when they had the 4Kids dub. That was my first exposure to One Piece.
Please don't
Uh,
mention that.
I still think the pirate rap is probably the best One Piece opening.
I'm
But
gonna pretend I didn't hear that, John.
yeah, I have a lot of controversial opinions, but I also didn't hate the 4Kids dub because at the end of the day, One Piece is an anime written for little kids, just like 9/10 of the other anime out there.
It's
Um,
true.
yeah, they just write them for elementary or middle schoolers in a lot of cases. So anything that says shonen in the shonen genre usually is just written that way.
Yeah, I do tend to gravitate to that though.
It's why all the characters are good boys who like food.
I mean, who doesn't like food?
Yeah, it's so relatable, right? Wow,
Yeah.
how relatable are these characters? However, I will say I can relate to Denji on a personal level.
Haha. We call that a segue.
Well, shall we jump into the anime then?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Today we are talking about episodes 5 and 6 of Chainsaw Man. Episode 5, Gun Devil. Sweet, sweet victory, yeah, for Denji. He finally gets to touch a boob, and Power is playing it up. Oh, it feels so good, it feels so nice. And Denji seems to be enjoying himself until the cup of the broth falls out. And then he's like, the hell?
Yeah, how we sit here and we overanalyze anime. And Denji definitely I've watched a lot of anime. I don't think I've ever seen a scene in anime where someone has analyzed feeling someone up to the level that Denji did in this episode. Like he hyper analyzes his feelings and like his situation, which I admit is bizarre. But yeah, I can't believe like we get all these internal monologues, and he's crushed at
And
the end of it.
he's just a zombie for the next how many, like, they're eating breakfast and he's barely eating. They're walking the streets and he's not even paying attention to Power, and she's like, I'm gonna hit you on the top of your head, and he doesn't react. Hell, he doesn't even react to Makima.
Yeah, he's definitely. This is a bizarre example, but an example of having some sort of goal, obtaining the goal, and it's not what you had envisioned. It could even be, relatable, like, hey, I've been waiting for this sequel to this movie series for how many years? It's finally coming out. You go to see it, and whatever you had envisioned in your head, it's nothing what comes up on the screen when you're watching the movie. So there's this sense of disappointment because whatever you had envisioned, it did not equate to reality or what happened. So then it didn't meet your expectations, whatever they are. So that's basically what happened to Denji. Whatever he thought it was going to be to grab some boob, he didn't get what he envisioned.
Dreams crushed.
Yep. And I love how he even expressed how disappointed he was to Makima. Like, she can clearly tell something's off with him. And he's like, yeah, I achieved a dream that I've been chasing. And it's like, is it better to achieve the dream? Or is it better to chase the dream?
That's a big philosophical question.
What do you think about the Inigo Montoya from
Yeah,
Princess Bride? They ask him, he kills the 6-fingered man,
yeah.
whatever, right? And you're like, wow, what now, dude? And he's like, I don't know.
I accomplished what I set out to do, and I have no idea where to go from here.
Yeah,
So Makima clearly can tell that Denji is down in the dumps. And she knows she has to do something. And she plays Denji like a fiddle, saying, "Oh, second base isn't great if it's just with a random person. It feels so much better if it's someone that you know and you love and you have feelings for." And she starts holding his hand, and then she bites his thumb and says, "Even if you go blind, you'll be able to remember how my teeth feel on your thumb." Because I know how much you care, like insinuating how much Denji cares about her and his big crush on her. And then Denji realizes that his hand is groping Makima, and there is no way in hell he ever washes that hand ever again.
Yeah, he definitely kind of loses his mind right there. She has the whole scene where he's just like, he's totally focused on her. It's almost as if like he doesn't completely hear everything she's even saying. And she goes through the whole spiel, and she puts his hand on her breast, and then he loses his mind. He throws himself back, he falls off the chair, he's on the ground, arms in the air, and he's like grabbing his chest like he can't breathe. He has no idea what just happened. And then she kind of hits, she brings the show back down after that whole silliness of that scene and brings it back in, where she starts talking like, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to help me find the gun devil and to kill him. And that's where the episode kind of picks up again, story wise, and explaining who the gun devil is. And it's a pretty wild scene. It goes from this wacky silliness and down to really really dark as they explain who the gun devil is.
Makima played Denji like a fiddle once again here. Like, she knew that she needed to get something out of Denji. And she also knows Denji has the biggest crush on her. So what better way to lure him into this than biting his hand, letting him grope you, and then saying, "Hey, if you can kill the gun devil, I will grant any wish." And there was a heavy emphasis on any. And Denji, being a moron, wasn't picking up on it, where he even had to ask, "Even sexual?" And she's like, "Yes, Denji. Yes, that is clearly what I am implying here."
yeah. You really have to spell it out for Denji.
I feel like that was the first thing that he jumped to, but he just couldn't believe that that was real or even an option. So he had to have her clarify what any meant. He was just in shock.
Well, it is good. I'm surprised he didn't like pull a piece of paper and he's like, "Can I have that in writing,
I
please?" That's what I was
have
thinking.
this legal binding document. Would you sign here, please?
But it reminds me of Game of Thrones. back in the day, Littlefinger had a line. I can't remember if it was in the books or TV show, but it was essentially like, once you know what someone wants, you have them. And Makima knows exactly what Denji wants, so it's very easy for her to just like to motivate him. I'm not so sure if it's manipulating, but she certainly knows how to motivate him.
I'm leaning towards it is more manipulation, but I'm curious to see as the show goes on if Denji is able to prove himself to her. Will she start to grow more of a relationship kind of attachment to him, or will he always just be a pawn that she's able to take full advantage of until he either does everything that she needs him to do or is killed off, and then she moves on to the next pawn.
I think it's manipulation as well. With this offer, Makima wins regardless. Either Denji kills the gun devil and the biggest devil that we know of is gone, or Denji dies, he's not as worthwhile as she thought, and she can move on to her next pet project.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would like to see something more come out of that on Makima's end, but right now, at least, she's full blown manipulation. I need you to do this, and whatever it takes to get you there to do that thing, she's willing to put on the table. So
But based on the next scene we see, it seems like a good thing that Denji takes out the God Devil, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Makima explaining the history of violence, how the gun devil emerged, how many the gun devil killed when it first emerged. And when they were showing that flashback, the imagery really reminded me of the terrorist attack of 9/11. I don't know if that
yeah,
was
Same.
intentional or not.
yeah, just like complete mass destruction. Buildings destroyed, rubble everywhere. It was it I'm pretty sure it was hand drawn. They didn't use actual images, but yeah, it was just like mass devastation, and it was pretty rough.
And I love how during this whole thing, when she's explaining everything, Denji is bored and he's like, sorry, some of that went over my head.
He makes me laugh. Like I know it's a trope that your shonen hero is dumb and likes food, and they're doing it a little bit of a different way. But he definitely seems very not smart until you get him in the moment of a fight. Then he seems to really shine, kind of like Goku in Dragon Ball, or especially Dragon Ball Super, at least, where he's like a really big idiot.
It's got some ultra instincts.
Yeah, but then like he starts to fight, and he's like, "Oh, he's a fighting genius," but he doesn't know how to turn on a vacuum to clean house. But he can punch somebody in the face really well.
I am all about the Aki origin story in this episode and the next episode.
Were you also watching it the whole time, thinking like, "All right, where's the twist?" Usually, when there's a boy, you know, a boy and his brother, right? Obviously, the focus is on the older brother, so you're like, okay, either they're out in the snow, so you're like, oh, okay, little brother's probably gonna like fall on the ice and drown, or they're both gonna get back and their parents are dead, that kind of stuff.
I definitely was not expecting the brother to die.
I thought there was a shot.
I'm like, okay, they're playing. At first, I wasn't sure if it was Aki.
True.
Yeah, I don't think I realized it was Aki at first.
I thought it might have just been a generic background on the gun devil. But when they were playing catch, I'm like, okay, they're playing catch. Aki's finally. It seems like he's finally coming around to his brother. I thought maybe they would show back up to the house and something would have happened to the parents, but the brother would have been okay. But literally, the brother walks in the door and boom, see ya house, see ya family.
Yeah, I don't think I put together that that was Aki in the beginning. And I'm just watching the brother reactions, and I have a younger brother myself, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I get older brother's a little frustrated for whatever reason, doesn't want to hang out. Then they get into a snowball fight. They're having fun. It's fine. Hey, let's play catch. Little one runs to the house. He's standing at the tree, and I figured it's a flashback. Something's going to happen, but I wasn't ready for the house to just be totally demolished and gone in like a second. And then it zooms in on his face, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's Aki. Oh, that's what happened."
It explains a lot about Aki, though. You know, his there's a reason I think a lot of people become like these devil hunters, right? Like usually, well, okay, for a lot of people, it's just like, yeah, the pay's pretty good. But for like the other half of the people, I think usually it's like a family member is killed or someone close to them is killed, and they want revenge. So I feel like the two biggest reasons people become devil hunters, right? Money, a cheap buck, or revenge.
Yeah, and Aki's is definitely the anger of losing his family. He wants every devil gone, and I get why.
So we learn that the gun devil sheds bullets from its body, and its bullets can be eaten to power up other devils. And when the bullets close to other bullets, they merge back together to track the gun devil, or they can be used to track devils that ate bullets from the gun devil.
That's a really interesting plot device that they're using with the gun devil. I just assumed like it would shoot bullets, and they just say like it just runs really fast. So it's running at such a speed wherever it goes, it destroys everything around it, and these bullets like shed from its skin. I'm like, that's different. That's not what I would expect the gun devil to do. But okay. And the fact that they'll track back to the main body when you have enough of them amassed together. So it's at this point, I guess it's hunting down these fragment bullets in order to find the host of the gun devil itself.
Yeah, the gun devil power is not what I expected. Whenever the house got blown over, I like had to do a couple double takes of that scene. I'm like, did I miss something? Like, was something shot? Was there a big ass bullet bill that blew by and I missed it somehow? Like,
Yeah, I think I watched that scene twice.
and like you don't see anything with it. Just there's a house and then there's not a house.
Yeah, it's a couple frames and that house is gone. I was like, whoa. And if I'm not mistaken, I kind of want to go back and watch it again to listen. I think they have like instead of a general like wind noise, it's almost like an echo of a gunshot that you hear, but there's no bullet that is shot. I guess it just runs and makes that noise.
And we see a little bit of the bullet in action as Aki and Himeno track down the lily fish devil, kill it, and realize that it was powered up by the gun devil flesh.
I like that the fish devil is just like a big fish. I mean, they could have just caught that with with a rod or a net, and it's just a fish.
Like, what's the fish devil's power even supposed to be? Like, once you get out of land, out of water, what's it supposed to do besides flop around?
It's a really good swimmer. That's about it.
So we get to a point where Himeno, Aki, Denji, Power, and Himeno's two rookies have a team up, and this is when Aki explains to everyone the power of the gun devil, and they're like, look, the devil here, it's not going to be the actual gun devil, as the pull's only minor. So Denji and Power are still arguing, having bad manners. The sibling rivalry continues, and they're going at each other more and more and more until Aki tells them, hey, I told you to work on your manners. And Denji had the line that I lost it at, and I didn't even pick it up the first time I watched the episode. Denji said, shove your manners up your a-hole, a-hole, and Aki gets them to stop on a dime and behave by offering them each a piece of gum.
That's such a great scene.
For Aki, they're pretty much his kids.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's kind of how I view it. Like the children he never wanted.
He can't get rid of either.
Yep.
He's stuck with them. I'll give you a piece of gum if you guys just behave. Okay.
So Aki is clearly pissed off during this whole intro scene before going into the building, and Denji and Power are like, do you think it was because of the prank we did? And Aki's like, that wasn't a prank. That was way too vile to be a prank. And everyone's like, okay, well, Himeno's like, yo, what did they do? And he won't say. I'm like, they left him an upper decker, didn't they?
The only logical explanation.
Yeah, they kind of gloss over that and they move on. So I would be curious to know what they did as well. So I mean, that's my default answer now has to be the upper decker.
I mean, it's vile. You don't get much more vile than an upper decker.
It's true.
Pretty vile.
So they're like, okay, we need to. Denji seems to be like, whatever, I'm not here to kill this devil. I don't care. I'm just here because I was told to be here. I need a reward to kill a devil. And Himeno says, okay, you want a reward? Fine. Whoever kills the devil, I'll kiss them. And Denji's like, at first he's like, "Ooh, that sounds great," and then he's like, "Well, Makima said it's better if I do it with someone that knows me and I know," and so he's like going back and forth on if he wants it or not, and he even says, "You know what? I don't care about your kiss. I'm gonna get from Makima. What do I care about you, Himeno?" And Aki's getting pissed at this whole bit with Denji.
They have a great shot of Aki's face in the background while that scene's breaking down, and he just is like, "What the hell's going on?"
Aki's just jealous because every woman, for some reason, loves Denji, and no women love Aki.
Well, do all the females in this show just know, hey, the way to to motivate Denji is just offer him some sort of either boob touch, a kiss, sex? Like, do they like? Is there a memo going around, floating around the office saying, hey, to get Denji to do something, offer him something sexual related?
There could be. I mean, we haven't had access to the office lounge or the watering hole at the office there. So
Well, let's also face it, as they're going to say here, a lot of people in this field don't really make it past a year. So I think that the way they live their lives is a little different from the way we live our lives.
that's
If
a
you
good point.
knew that, this is dark, but if you knew you only had a year left on your lifespan, potentially, you would probably live life a little differently than you do now.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
So
mean,
I
we
think
sort of even see that with Himeno in the next episode. Himeno trying to convince Aki to smoke, like saying, "Yo, the smoking's not going to kill you. You're probably going to die from a devil."
yeah,
yeah, that's true.
that's why she has no problem with it.
So I love how Himeno's like, "Fine, all right, a normal kiss won't do. Okay, well, what if your kiss, Denji, has a little tongue in it?" And Denji goes from whatever to, "Oh yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. Let's murderize some shit." And then the horny Denji walk is back, and I die every time they show the horny Denji prowl.
Me
The grin
too.
on his face, the hatch in his hand.
The sounds he makes are so good.
Tongue's hanging out. He's walking down the hallway, completely motivated. He's power walking. Like, let's find this thing. I'm gonna kill it now.
Time to murderize.
Very funny.
So then we get more Aki backstory, seeing the first time Aki meets Himeno, and Aki's super quiet. He's to the point. Himeno is his first partner, and Himeno is like, "Yo, you're partner number 6 for me. Just you best not die on me." And I love how we keep hearing that throughout this episode and the next episode. Best not die on me, Aki.
They think they're setting something up.
Yeah, yeah. I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either. Making me nervous.
So they're walking the halls of the building. They're like, "All right, where the hell is this devil?" And then all of a sudden, a door opens, and you're expecting some big monster to come out, and then the screen pans down, and it's just a head devil with 2 hands as ears, letting the devil walk around, and it looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but I was not expecting that.
It reminded me of in Demon Slayer, whenever you see like the little guys who are like little spiders, but they just have like a human head.
Oh yeah,
That's a good.
Um, it's just like you pan down and you're just like, what the heck is that thing?
So then Power's like, "All right, I'm gonna kill this thing," and the head devil lunges at them, and it just freezes in midair. And Power's like, "All right, well, easy kill for me, shink." And Power's like, "Haha, I'm so powerful it froze before it's at my power." And Himeno's like, "Yeah, no, it wasn't you. I partnered with the ghost devil. You can't see it. It's invisible. It can suspend things." And then she explains that she sacrificed her eye to partner with the ghost devil. So then it made me think, it's like, okay, well, the one episode Aki said he had to sacrifice some skin for the fox devil, but Himeno's sacrifice was a one-time deal. What's the difference in contracts between the two devils?
that's a good question. Because yeah, I mean, maybe it depends on the devil itself,
That's what I'm thinking.
or even like what you gain from the devil. Because it seems like she has the ability to either conjure up this ghost arm, or it's always there and she can just control it whenever she wants to because she gave up her eye. Whereas Aki can summon the fox devil, as long as he, gives up a piece of his skin. So I mean, the skin can like heal and grow back, whereas her eye is gone forever. So maybe depending on what you give and how much you give up, as to what kind of abilities you'll be able to use, depending on what devil. So it's interesting to see how this power system is going to work.
This
Summoning devils.
seems like devils get to negotiate their own contracts.
Yeah,
And it seems like it's up to the person to agree to the terms or not. It doesn't seem like there's really much negotiation.
Yeah.
So then Power's like, "Oh yeah, you're that was cool and all, but psh, that's like you still don't, you can't top me. You you say you have secrets, but you know what? I'm gonna kill your rookie, and we'll see if your secrets are true." And him is like, "Fuck this." Sends out the Ghost Devil, chokes Power like, "You gonna behave, or am I gonna have to do something else?" And the Ghost Devil arm looked sweet as hell. And I'm hoping we see more of the Ghost Devil besides just the arm.
Yeah, Ghost Devil is cool as heck. I like everything about it that they've shown so far.
it's a really cool ability that can do a whole lot of stuff.
And you can even see whenever they're not showing the Ghost Devil visual, you can see like fingers on Power's neck to show where like the ghost fingers are putting pressure on her neck.
Hey, the animators are good.
They
Yeah,
pay a lot of attention to detail.
they do. They do. They whoever I don't know the studio. I should probably look this up. Who animates this? But they've done a really good job with this show so far.
So that concludes episode 5. Turtle, would you like to talk about the end credit song?
Yes, the end credit track for this is called "The Back Room," and it's by the individual band artist uh, Sudo, Syudou, all lowercase. The actual ending credit animation, the imagery, it's actually very disturbing. But it's set to the song, which is a rather upbeat kind of a track. So it's interesting. A lot of images referencing like infinity or infinite loops, things going on indefinitely. But the way it was put together and the song itself, I really liked. So it's a cool ending credits.
And I looked it up really quickly. The animation studio for Chainsaw Man is Mappa, Mappa. They were founded in 2011 by one of the co-creators of Madhouse, which is another
Oh,
animation studio. They've done a good bit of animation. One of the most notable ones, of course. Apparently, they do Jujutsu Kaisen, which is not a surprise at all to me because these two series have a lot of parallels, in my opinion.
yeah, it's definitely kind of a similar vein.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I'm familiar with Madhouse. I've seen them do quite a few things, so this is kind of a branch off of them. That makes sense. Good job, guys.
So that brings us to episode 6, Kill Denji.
Kill Denji.
Kill Denji.
So the episode begins with sort of how the last episode ended. The Devil Hunters realize, hey, we're stuck on floor 8. We can go up the steps, we can go down the steps, we can go through one door, through a window, and come out the other side of the room, or the other side of the hallway. They realize, we're stuck on floor 8, and there's nothing we can do about it. And the visuals during this whole thing were so cool. Like, no matter what they did, it's like, okay, well, go up the steps. No, that didn't work. Go down the steps. No, that didn't work. Heck, even Denji's like, well, prop me up. Let me see if I can, like, go through the ceiling tiles and, like, get through the rafters or something. And you see him, that you see Power holding Denji up, and his head is clearly through the roof. And you see Denji then looking through the floor at his own feet.
Yeah, that was a really cool setup that they did there.
So then Kobani's freaking out. she's like, "Oh no, we're all gonna die. We don't have any help. Help. They're never gonna find us. They're gonna send more hunters and they won't help us out because they'll just be stuck too." And they're like, then she's explaining how she was forced to get a job, and it was either become a devil hunter or become a sex worker, and all she wanted to do was go to college.
I feel really bad for her, but then like the rest of the episode, she's like literally the whole time that we've seen this character, she's pretty much freaking out all the time. And I don't know. I this is definitely not the job for her.
Yeah, she definitely seems to be in the wrong place. And when they talk about people that you think aren't going to make it a year in this job, you see like Kobeni's demeanor and you're like, there's no way, right? Like there's no way she's going to make it a year.
No.
Like there's no way she's going to make it past this mission. Like would anyone be surprised if she doesn't make it out of this hotel?
I was even wondering if this is this her first mission. Like, has she done a mission before this?
I'm trying to think if they mentioned that she was on anything
They mentioned
before.
training, I think, but she might have just been shadowing.
That's true. They did mention training for the two new characters. I'm really bad with names, so let me pull an aside before we jump back in. I'm terrible with names, so more often than not, when I watch a show, I will kind of nickname somebody unless they're in the show frequently enough. So these two new characters, I don't remember their names. I'll just be straight up with you. There's the girl who freaks out and tall guy.
Yeah, there's the tall guy. He's Hirokazu Arai, and she's Kobeni Higashiyama, and yeah, Hirazaku. No one cares about this guy. Like Kobeni at least stands out because she's like freaking out all the time.
Yeah,
But Hirokazu, the only thing he says is he's like, you shouldn't be kissing people, Himeno," and everyone's just like, "Shut up, dude."
He
So like,
definitely has a stick up his ass.
yeah. So right now, nobody really like loves these characters.
I got a feeling that they're not going to make it through this mission.
I found it hard to pay attention to the Harai scenes just because it's like he just felt so plain.
Yeah,
At least with Kobeni, it's like, all right, she's freak. Like, there's something to her. Like, there's some sort of personality to her. It's freaking the fuck out, but it's something. It's not
Yeah,
a wet blanket in a big body.
I think the point of him is supposed to be like the morally correct, justice. I want what's best for everybody type character, but he was just so bland in this episode in general that I quickly didn't care about him because he really does nothing.
Like Aki can be bland at times, but he even he still has personality.
He does, and he has this air of mystery and intrigue to him, which keeps me like I want to see this guy do stuff. And then he summons the Fox Devil, and you're like, I got my eye on you, dude. You're doing stuff. This new guy is just like meh.
So they're freaking out, and then Aki realizes, yo, all the clocks are frozen at 8:18. They're all stuck. There's no, even if they send help, they're not gonna find us because it's 8:18 here, always and forever. Doesn't to them to the real world, the time is still moving on. We're stuck in a frozen point in time,
That's actually a very scary concept.
except for Denji.
He doesn't care.
He's like, sweet, we can sleep all we want. It's great. The clocks are frozen. I can sleep forever. And Arai's like, you are an absolute moron. Do you not get the gravity of the situation? And Denji's like, what's gravity have to do with it? It's like, oh, Denji.
Denji made me laugh in this episode a lot. He's very silly in a good way. And this is, and I really think that Denji's character has been intentional to build to stuff like this, because this is actually a pretty scary scenario for a lot of people. Being totally like stuck where the world around you is frozen, but you can move, but you can't like get back to the real world. You're in your own like little bubble, and Denji is the levity to this pretty scary situation. So I really think like all the episodes of Denji and his goofiness has kind of been building to this to bring some humor to something that's actually kind of frightening.
So Denji wakes up, and Himeno's like, "Oh, hey, you're awake. Cool. Here's what's gone down. Aki's still hunting for the devil. Kobani's freaking the hell out. I had to knock her out. Arai had a panic attack. And then she's like, and the fiend you brought, Power, yeah, she's going off on a being all weird. And then Denji's like, oh no, that's just normal for her. And Himeno's like, oh, okay, cool. Now we could all watch the two of them, so I can finally go to the bathroom. And then we get more Aki backstory, and we see that Himeno is the one who got Aki to smoke and got him to smoke the same brand because Denji pointed out, hey, you smoke the same brand as Aki. And she's like, yeah, I know. That was because of me. And then we see Aki's like, oh, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to smoke. It's bad for me. It's bad for me. I can't smoke. And then we see a scene where one of Himeno's ex-partner's significant others come up to her and slap her. And she's like, yeah, that always happens. They can't do anything about the devil that killed their significant other, so usually it comes back on me. And Aki gets super pissed, like, yo, no, that you can't do that. And he storms after the significant other and comes back, and Himeno's like, what the hell did you just do? He's like, I put gum on her, and she's gonna walk around all day with gum on her. Ha 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 ha
A fantastic prank. Got her.
ha. Got him!
Revenge.
So Aki storms in like, yo, I need. So Aki in the flashback finally gives in to smoke one. He's like, I'm only smoking one. After this little puff, I'm never smoking another cigarette. You'll finally be happy that I smoked, and we can move on. And clearly he was not correct in saying it was a one and done because he storms into the room like, yo, I need a smoke. You got any? And she's like, nah, sorry, last one. And then Aki's like, well, it's mine now. And he starts taking a hit of the cigarette, and Denji gets all mad, like, hey, you just got an indirect kiss. How dare you? That's supposed to be the prize. That's my prize.
Gosh, I love anime and the indirect kiss trope. It is so good. Every slice of life anime has it, where the girl that he likes, is like drinks from a can, and then the guy's like, "Oh, I'm so thirsty," and she's like, "Here, do you want a sip of mine?" And like the one of the characters blows it way out of proportion because of the indirect kiss. I like it though. It's what makes slice of life so comfy.
I don't really, I haven't really watched too many slice of life shows, so at some point we'll have to cover one in here, and I can kind of try to broaden my horizons with anime.
Well, it's about all I watch. So.
So then they hear a ruckus in the hallway. They go out to the hall, and the head devil from earlier has returned, but with many more heads. And we learn that this devil wants Denji and says, yo, you can either kill him or I'll take him alive, but I want to eat Denji. Doesn't say why, doesn't explain, like, it's to power me up. Just says, yeah, I'll leave you guys alone if you let me eat Denji. Kobeni comes out of the room holding a knife, saying, Denji, save us! Let the devil eat you! It's fine!
It's so
And,
funny the way she's presented, like shaking, like panicked, and saying the words, and you're like, she snapped.
oh yeah.
This girl has absolutely snapped.
And Denji's like, yeah, this is a bunch of BS. We can't believe this devil. And that's when we learn about contracts. And Himeno and Aki are like, no, this devil clearly said contract. They know what these words mean. Like, if we if we give this devil to, like, let him eat you, Denji, we're out of here. And we won't know, like, no time will pass. It'll be 8:18 at one time, and feel like we're stuck in here forever. And then all of a sudden it'll be 8:19.
Yeah, contracts seem incredibly powerful.
I want to know what this devil wants with Denji.
How does he even like know his name? You
That's
know,
what I was wondering too. He was just a random dude. No other devil has ever made mention of, like, oh, Denji. Yeah, we need to kill this guy. We know he's super powerful.
And it's not like the head devil talked to the bat devil or the leech devil because they died in the previous episodes, so they didn't get to spread the word of Denji to anybody. So yeah, how does this devil know who Denji is, and why does he have to eat him that badly?
Yeah, specifically eat him because didn't the Bat Devil taste Denji and say he tasted nasty?
Yes.
He did.
So like, why would this guy want to eat him? It doesn't make any sense.
I'm also curious to know if this devil is working for another devil or is he just on his own? I mean, to me, it would make sense if he was working with a devil and the devil told him, you need to go after Denji. But again, how do they know about Denji? So I have no idea.
Could be a mole. I mean, let's face it. We talk about how sketchy Makima is, and we're like, well, what if she's like a mole and has been feeding information to devils?
Or, ooh, and here's something I just thought of, and I don't know if there's any kind of truth to this or if I'm just talking out of my ass. What if one of Makima's superiors on that council is leaking information to a devil or working for a devil or is a devil and they don't know?
It would not be far fetched to think that someone within the organization is either a devil or has a deal with the devil to betray other members of the organization. It makes sense.
Power is all aboard Team Kill Denji. She even calls herself the captain of it. And Aki's like, yeah, sorry. Devils can't make contracts with fiends. Doesn't work like
Oh,
that. So, Team Kill Denji is kaput.
I love Team Kill Denji. That made me laugh
kill
so
Denji.
hard. She's
Kill Denji.
she's like, I'm the captain of Team Kill Denji. And I'm like, what? What kind of team? What? Why? She's crazy.
Funny how quickly they all turn on each other.
I mean, Power, I buy it from because she's pretty nuts. So anything that comes out of her mouth, it doesn't catch me too off guard.
So then him and it was like, all right, Aki, just summon the Fox Devil. Let's get this over with. And Aki tries to summon it, and it doesn't show up. And they're like, yeah, that's right. We're stuck in a time, like, we're frozen in time. There's no way the Fox Devil can get in. So after that, they're like, all right, we're just going to chill. And I love how Power gets busted eating all the food and blatantly says, yeah, this was all, Denji ate this food. It's like, we clearly saw you eating the food. And Power just always blames Denji for everything. Like, Denji's like, oh, it's clear we're stuck in this whole situation because Power killed that devil earlier. And Power's like, you commanded me to kill the devil.
Like once again, they're like little kids, Denji and her, like arguing. Like when one sibling blames the other sibling for something they did. Like they seriously are like brother and sister, and Aki's their dad.
That's so true.
And Makima's the mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
So then Aki brings up, hey, you know what? I can get us out of this situation. Just let me use the sword. And him and is like, no way. You're not using the sword. We're killing Denji first before we let you use that sword.
Yeah, I got real freaked out. I was like, what is that sword and what does it do? And why is she so afraid that he uses it?
And then later, like, Aki brings it up again, like, I'm using the sword. Like, screw this. I'm using the sword. Shit has gone, we're screwed. The building is shifting. The devil's getting bigger. We find out that this devil is actually called the Eternity Devil, and that they are in the stomach of the devil. That's why they can't hurt the devil because it's not his real body. And Aki's like, you know what? I'm using the sword. I don't care. And we learn that the sword, every time Aki uses it, takes a huge chunk of his lifespan. And so then it's like, okay, well, how did Aki get this sword? And is this some sort of devil sword or something?
A lot of unanswered questions.
I wonder if it's something where like he made a contract with the sword, or is it some relation to the fox devil that he got the sword?
We got to consider things like: is there a sword devil? Right? Can you have multiple contracts with multiple devils?
That's a good question.
I would guess yes, actually, depending on what you're willing to give to each one.
Makes sense. At least what we know so far about the contracts.
So at this point, Kobeni just completely breaks. She's like, "No, we're killing Denji. I don't care anymore." And she lunges for Denji and tries to stab him. And then all of a sudden, you see Aki, who's tied up with the Ghost Devil, shift his body enough to protect Denji. And I'm like, "Oh!" And the first time I saw it, I'm like, "Holy shit!" Aki protected Denji, who in previous episodes he's like, "I don't care about you. You're just like, I don't care. You can die, whatever. You're just here for the money. I'm not gonna become your friend." And then Aki's like, "No, I'm protecting this guy."
Yeah, I was pretty mad when I watched that scene. I was like, really? I was like, well, now Aki can't. I bet you they're gonna say like, oh, Aki can't fight now, so now Aki's not gonna be able to use the sword, and like it's gonna be a whole problem. So they're like, oh, we gotta get Aki to the hospital. He's bleeding out. Like it's gonna be this whole thing. So, yeah, it made me mad. Kobeni is on my list of characters I do not like.
Yelp. Feed her to a devil.
I was like,
Yeah,
can't we make a trade?
the two new characters they introduced that I like the least is freaking out girl and tall guy who is bland and has no personality.
Mr. Bland,
I
yeah.
could lose both of them and not care.
So I love how Aki's like, "I only saved him because I know he can kill the gun devil. I can't do it myself. I need all the devil hunters that I can get that aren't afraid." And Denji's like, "All right, uh, you had to protect me, didn't you, asshole? Like, I will go take care of business. Like, but after this, we're square. Don't be trying to save my life again. Like, I don't need your help." Like, Denji's like, "Yeah, this guy saved my life." Instead of showing gratitude, I'm gonna be like, "This guy's an asshole. I don't want to deal with him anymore."
Yeah, I mean, I got to give big points to Aki for that scene. I wasn't expecting him to jump in the way of the blade and take the hit. So a lot of respect for Aki. Aki's a great character. He's a good dude.
So Denji says, "You know what? There's something clearly going on with this devil. He keeps saying he wants to eat me, but he hasn't messed with me at all. Like, he's leaving me alone. He's tormenting all of you guys. I'm just sort of like an innocent, I'm just a bystander in this. He's afraid of me. I'm going to kill this devil. I'm going to jump down and it's going to eat me, but it's not going to eat me without a fight. I'm going to hurt it with my chainsaws and I'm going to torture it with my chainsaws." And Kobeni's like, "Chainsaws?" It's like, oh, this girl's going to freak the hell out whenever she sees Chainsaw Denji.
Oh yeah.
So Denji jumps down, and Power's like, "Oh, torturing the devil? What a devilish act."
Some of Power's dialogue just gets me. It makes me laugh.
The delivery is really good.
It really is.
And with Denji jumping into the infinite mouths of the Eternity Devil, episode 6 comes to an end. Turtle, would you like to discuss the end credits?
The ending song for episode 6 is Rendezvous, normally pronounced rendezvous, but I prefer to call it Rendezvous, by Canaria. Again, I don't know if this is a band or a solo singer, but Rendezvous by Canaria. It's a very fun and poppy kind of song. The animation again has this animation and symbolism of infinity, with the repeated use of the never ending spiral stairs going downward. It'll show the stairs, cut away to other stuff, come back to the stairs, cut away, come back to the steps. So it's a constant downward spiral that never ends. But the track is very fun. It's kind of poppy, and it's a good song and a fitting animation to go with it. I like this one as well.
So, on a whole, I really enjoyed episode 5. I feel like episode 5 could have been a standalone episode. It was cool, all the backstory we got for Aki. We finally learn about the Gun Devil. The first time I watched episode 6, I honestly didn't like it. Like, it felt slow to me. Like, I liked all the horror tropes in it, but the episode itself felt slow, and I don't know if it's because of him and those two rookies taking so much screen time. But the more I watched it, I'm watching the episode 3 times, and I really dug it by the last time I watched that episode.
Yeah, so far of all the episodes that we have seen, episode 6 is my favorite. only just because of the psychological interactions between these characters and just watching some of them completely break down. Others are, just in order to get through it, are just laser focused on one thing, like Aki. I'm gonna find this devil, and he just keeps looking and pressing onward, even though he's pretty sure he's not gonna find it. He keeps looking anyway. That's his drive to keep him from going crazy. Where the other two newbies just totally break down like almost immediately. So I found this really interesting on like a psychological level. And I'm not a horror guy. I don't like horror movies. I don't watch stuff. I don't like being scared. That's not fun to me. But just the psychology of this episode of watching these characters interact and how they handle this situation of being stuck and can't get out. I really found that interesting.
Yeah, my thoughts as well. I really liked episode 5 a lot, and episode 6. I feel like we've kind of gotten a big like a lore dump, huge backgrounds on characters. Like it makes me feel like Aki's going to be around for a while because we keep getting like tidbits of his past, and they introduce the sword. There's still a lot more to learn about him, and I'm glad that they're feeding us information. And I don't mind an episode that's slow as long as we get a payoff later. And I don't know, Denji, jumping down into the mouths, essentially down to the stomach or whatever of the Eternity Devil, and becoming Chainsaw Man. I feel like that there's gonna be a payoff there. So a slow burn is good for me as long as the ending is satisfactory.
The first time I watched episode 6, it honestly felt like when I beat Halo 2 and then I had to wait years for Halo 3. It's like you left me on this big cliffhanger right as the story was picking up, and now I have to wait. But at least with episode 6 leading into episode 7, I don't have to wait years for episode 7. I get to watch episode 7 this week.
There's a really good chance once we're done recording this, I'm gonna go watch it.
I did like the imagery of the number 8 throughout these episodes, and how when you take an 8 and turn it on its side, it becomes the infinity symbol.
Gasp!
Yeah, the infinity symbol, or is that also a Mobius, right?
I don't know.
I don't know that
Or
either.
maybe not actually. Mobius strip is something different. But either way, the infinity symbol, yeah, just the imagery. It looks good. It's a good symbol. We
Yep.
like it.
One thing to note, Denji wasn't called a dog or a pup in either episode, finally breaking that history, or that pattern.
Denji's becoming into more than just a dog or a pup. He's becoming a chainsaw man.
So that brings us to our waifu of the week segment. Turtle, who did you pick as your waifu and why?
Without spoiling your guys' choices, I understand your picks, but for myself, I am gonna go with Denji. Um, I really liked his levity and comedy throughout the 2 episodes. You have all these characters are stuck in this infinite loop, and he just goes and takes a nap because he can, and he doesn't care. And his just all the comedy bits from him I thought were really good. But just the main reason, the end of episode 6, where he's like, "Nah, fuck it, I'm gonna jump in. I'll take care of this." That to me was like that's so Denji, and I love it. I'm all in for it. So I'm very excited to see episode 7 to see what he does to this devil. But I'm gonna stick with the typical anime shonen trope where he's our main character. He's gonna be fine, but I'm excited to see what happens next.
Sean, who is your waifu of the week and why?
My waifu of the week is Aki. Not only do we learn about his tragic backstory and how he was a loving son and brother, he also seems to be a very important part of Himeno's life as he is now. And he took the bullet, well, not the bullet, the knife. He took the blade for Denji. I don't know. But yeah, all that gives him waifu of the week for me.
I also pick Aki, and pretty much for the same reasons. We get some Aki backstory. We see him stand up for Himeno when Himuro was confused of like, why are you standing up for me? Like, it's fine. And he's like, no, I was pissed. Like, I had to do something about this. And we see how like he's like, I'm willing to sacrifice a chunk of my life to kill this devil with the sword if I have to. And then he says he doesn't like Denji, and at the end of the day, he protects Denji from getting killed. Thank you all for joining us this week as we watch Chainsaw Man. We hope you join us next week for episode 4 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we will watch episodes 7 and 8 of Chainsaw Man. Please give us a 5-star review on all platforms that allow reviews. Turtle, do you have anything you would like to plug?
As always, you can find me on my YouTube channel, RPG Treasure Trove, where I do Let's Plays of RPG games, both new and old.
Sean, do you have anything you would like to plug?
By the time this airs, we will have wrapped season 1 of the Deaton Files podcast. Deaton spelled Deittman. 13 episodes, horror audio drama. Please tune in. Same places you can find this podcast.
The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you all for joining, and we will talk to you next week. Eyes up, Guardian.